All right, thank you, Jen. Well, last night we told you about a new study by the Siena Research Institute that shows that New Jersey Governor Chris Christie was popular here in New York State. Last night, Christie took a shot at New York politics in a speech to the Wall Street Journal CEO Council. Here's a little of what he had to say.
And also, you can't, everything's relative in comparison between the states, but I do expect us to continue to be more competitive. And I think that, for instance, a state like New York is moving in the wrong direction. You've seen taxes being increased there, and now you have a new mayor in New York who is aggressively talking about increasing taxes in New York City. While I feel badly for New Yorkers, come to New Jersey. It's moving in the other direction with us.
Yeah, that probably went over really well here. Joining us now, our political analyst, New York Post state editor Fred Dicker. And Fred, he was really jamming everybody here. What's going on? Or maybe the governor? I don't know. Who was he jamming?
Well, he's gleeful. I think he was, jamming high-cost New York Democrats. He is a Republican after all. And that poll yesterday not only showed Chris Christie popular in New York, Liz, as you know, it showed him beating Governor Cuomo in a hypothetical matchup for president. So he took some extra delight, I'm sure. He must have known about those results. Governor obviously wasn't happy, but the truth is, and this has been the truth for decades, that hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers have fled to New Jersey over the years. They fled to Connecticut over the years. These wealthy suburbs in New Jersey and in Connecticut aren't there by accident. They're there because so many people who made their money in New York found it more comfortable to live, partly because of lower taxes. Even though Jersey's a high-tax state, they found it more comfortable across the borders in both directions. So I think it's fair to say, and we just saw something along these lines a week or so ago, that Bill de Blasio's election as mayor of New York City with a promise to raise taxes in the city will very likely lead to more efforts to try to raid New York City for wealthy taxpayers and have them move to Connecticut and New Jersey. Just a week or so ago, a would-be candidate for governor of Connecticut ran ads in New York City inviting New Yorkers to move to Connecticut.
I wanted to talk to you about this last night and didn't have time, and it kind of dovetails into our discussion now. So let me ask you, does Chris Christie, in your view, have a higher national profile than Andrew Cuomo?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, he's now, polls show this, the leading figure. He may not be it in the end, but the leading Republican candidate to run for president in 2016. So he has a much higher profile. I think that he cuts across party lines. We saw that in the poll yesterday. A lot of Democrats are intrigued by him. And, kind of bottom line on Chris Christie, which we don't see with many politicians, Liz, sadly, is that he seems to be a very direct, honest individual who speaks with a candor that's not manufactured by press offices that don't call back journalists. I mean, he seems to be the genuine article, whether one likes him or not. I think a lot of people do respect him for that.
Yeah, I guess I asked because it didn't seem all that surprising to me he would have done better in that poll.
Well, that was a poll of New York voters. The governor of New York, who's a popular figure, should have beaten the governor of New Jersey. There's no question about that. But just as an anecdote, I was watching a national news show last week on one of the cable networks, and they were talking about possible Democratic challengers in a primary to Hillary Clinton in 2016. They mentioned Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, and then they mentioned from New York, Bill de Blasio, not Andrew Cuomo. And that also would have had to sting the governor. There's no question about that. I think to some degree he's fading. There was a lot of talk about a Cuomo presidency that was pushed aside by Hillary Clinton. And now there are new players, coming off the bench. And unless Andrew Cuomo does better, maybe if he wins re-election next year with 70% of the vote and achieves some things here in New York over the next couple of years that get him a national reputation, unless he keeps momentum going that he had in the first year but is fizzled out now, I think he's fading as a national figure.
Very interesting. Well, we'll see where this goes next. And, I always feel I can ask you anything. Within, say, 5 to 10 people, how many do you think will move from New York to New Jersey?
Well, over the years, it's quick. Well, you're asking me how many to predict?
Yeah.
Well, at least 5 or 10.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Fred. Fred's on the radio live from the state capitol weekday mornings 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.